Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another unboxing. We are moving along on our subscriber base, so thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you're finding value in the content, it really helps the channel the more subscribers we have. I have an upcoming video on the SRAM Force redesign, and had I had more subscribers, I could have leveraged that and said, hey, can you send me a group set? Can you send me a complete bike with the group set on there? Something to that effect, so that I could provide an unbiased opinion to you either before the embargo or the embargo was released or rescinded on yesterday, March 1st. Okay, today we're going to talk about handlebars. From the title, you know it's going to be about the Ritchey Streem 2. And this is the handlebar that we're talking about. Now, this is a Streem 2. They have a solo Streem, so that one is an integrated bar and stem combination. This is just the handlebar. So I'm going to do the unboxing. It came actually in a what do they call that? Plastic bag. So we're going to try not to tear this up, because on the back side of the packaging, I just did a video on the Ride Wrap product and how impressed I was with their packaging. So this is another example of good packaging, in my opinion. There's all your measurements for the bar. So, but the reason we chose this bar is, or the reason we're doing this bar, and then the reason we chose this bar. Jess had a crash that was caused by another rider whose handlebar got caught in some shrubs or something on the road. The gentleman was riding next to her on the inboard side, and Jess was riding on the outboard side along the fog line of the shoulder. His handlebar got caught and he got thrown into her. The craziest accident. But the handlebar was crushed, and it was a Rationale handlebar, and that Rationale handlebar has been discontinued. It's the Neo something, I don't remember, but it's irrelevant in some respects. So we were looking for a handlebar that was very similar to it, so not a radical departure. There was things that she liked about the handlebar, and one of the things she liked was this flattish portion here for the palms of her hands. It was a very comfortable position for her, and that's where she rode often, and that was important to her, to find a handlebar that had that. So from the rider's perspective, that is just a nice, comfortable area. Then one of the things, because she rides disc brakes on the two Rationales, the disc brake lever bodies are typically fairly long, and so that compromises certain fit positions for riders. In case you were not aware of this, bars come in very different, lots of different reach. So if you draw a center line here and you draw a line here, that part is called the reach of the bar. And then this part is called the drop of the bar. So over the last few years, probably more than few years, probably last decade, the most common handlebars for riders like us, recreational riders, they are a shallower drop. They used to be like a 130 drop or more, right? A shallower drop. And then also the reach has changed dramatically as well over the years. And now with the disc brake lever bodies being so long, you need a short reach bar to accommodate certain bike fit situations. Now, the other thing that was part of the design of the Rationale bar was internal routing. Good and bad. Bad because when this happened, I was like, oh, let's just put another bar on there so you can keep riding. But it turned out that, all she's on hydraulic disc brakes, so all of her cables and housing were running through the internal portion of the Rationale handlebar. The Ritchey does the same, but I mean, this is kind of the way all those bikes are going this way, right? So you're hiding the cables and stuff. But I chose the Ritchey handlebar not only because of very similar characteristics with the flat top, shallow drop, reduced reach, but the other reason why I chose the Ritchey handlebar is these things are tough. I had a crash on my tandem with the Super Logic, which is their top end stuff. So you have WCS, and then above that is a Super Logic. It's their top end carbon stuff. And I mean, I reefed on those bars and pulled in every direction, and there was no cracks. There was nothing there, and it was a pretty significant crash on the tandem. So I really trust Ritchey products for their handlebars and their stems. So in this case, there were a few bars that I'm a Rationale dealer, that the distributor said, oh, well, these kind of are similar to that. And I said, we already went down that road. We already crushed a Rationale carbon handlebar. It wasn't that hard of a fall. Do we want to go back to that type of a handlebar? Also, if you've been following my channel, I ride Ritchey steel bikes. I have 3 of them. I have a Ritchey Road Logic. I have a Ritchey Swiss Cross. And I just got a 50th anniversary Outback. Steel is real. And when you crash a steel bike, you don't really have to worry about cracking your top tube when the handlebar comes in, because it's the most common thing that happens. Or other people falling on top of you, or someone else's pedal going through your down tube. But because I love Ritchey product in the steel side and the stem aluminum side, I also trust their handlebars. Now, you know what? You get a bad batch, you crash, you break a handlebar at maybe at a stoplight. You forget to get out of your pedal and the bike falls over and you break your handlebar. I'm not sponsored by Ritchey. I don't make endorsements in that respect. But just anecdotally, I have had good success with Ritchey carbon handlebars, which generally I stay away from a lot of carbon product on my bike, because if you're doing a long distance event, an endurance event, for example, today is March the 2nd, so 16 days from now, March 18th, I'm doing a 400K unsupported event, 252 miles, and then on April 22nd, I'm doing a 600-kilometer event, so 375 miles. If you crash out there and you break your handlebar, there's no support. There's no SAG vehicle going to come pick you up at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're out in the middle of wherever. In San Diego, you could be in the middle of nowhere. Once you just leave a little bit of San Diego proper, most of San Diego is still rural, mountainous, and also desert-like. So I like reliable products on my bike. Some of my bikes still have aluminum handlebars, believe it or not. So anyway, I really think that this handlebar is going to be a very good replacement for her Chanelli. So let's go over just some of the specs for those that are interested. So UCI compliant, wing shaped top tube, you know, so basically this here, you know, they've got certain, the UCI gets involved in everything. So if you want your stuff to be UCI compliant, you have to conform. If you want these handlebar stems and things to be ridden on pro Peloton bikes, I mean, this is what you have to do. But anyway, gentle sweep to the tops. Now, I love bars that have a nice position, and some of them will sweep back a little bit. Some of them sweep out a little bit. So you have a close position here, close to the stem, and then maybe they sweep out a little bit to the drops so you can get down and be more aero. So I always look for that kind of stuff, a little bit of a sweep. So we talked about internal routing, no slip here on the stem area, so you can be able to hear that. But you know, carbon installation, you should really use some type of carbon fiber paste to clamp on there. And please use a torque wrench when you put on the stem faceplate, and also the stem steerer clamp. Make sure you're using a torque wrench. Freehanding, great. You know, if you're a mechanic in a shop, there is no doubt you're using a torque wrench. If you're a home mechanic, I mean, enter as your own risk, as they used to say about pools and stuff, but or the ocean when there's no lifeguard on duty. But please get a torque wrench, please. Okay, so let's talk about the spec per bar. For a 40 centimeter handlebar, which is what this is. By the way, they don't make it in 38, 36. 40 is the smallest bar they make. There is a trend for narrow handlebars. This isn't it. All right, so 40. 124 is the drop with a 70 reach. So remember that imaginary line you draw from here to here. And it sweeps back about 5 degrees. It says 4.7, so let's just call it 5. So nice. So you're here, and then it sweeps, back sweep of 4.7. If you want to mount accessories, now this is always going to be a challenge because you have this arrow top. You need a long enough portion here. So the stem is going to clamp here, but then you need a little bit, you know, to grab your computer mount and or, you know, any type of accessory. So let's just say you're using a GoPro mount and things like that. So you want to be able to clamp them to your bar. They claim 235 grams for a 42 centimeter. This is a 40 centimeter. And I love this. Look, it already comes with some cable guide that, I mean, they only give you one, so you just reuse it as you go through with the other installations. It also says it's compatible with your Shimano in-bar junction box. And stem clamp 5 Newton meters. That's very, very typical. Color is matte black, so that's all great. And there's only one degree of flare. Now, if we're looking at these gravel bars, I mean, they've got, I think the least amount is like 6 degrees, but they're going to 12, 24. I haven't ridden a 24 flare or more handlebar, so I don't know if it does add a lot of stability. So please, if you ride gravel and you're riding a 24 degree flare handlebar and that's providing a lot more stability for you, please make a comment down below. I'm curious about that. I'm a true roadie who rides gravel from time to time, like rarely, but from time to time, I guess is a good way to say it. And I just like regular handlebars. I don't know about the flare just yet. And so because this is an unboxing video, I will do the weight on the handlebar. But I really, really need people to understand that weight is not a thing. It's every reviewer, every cycling magazine is, oh, it's lighter than last year's edition and it's lighter than... Please stop focusing on that stuff because it's very, very fruitless. There's always going to be something lighter. So, but it may be more fragile. You know, the thing is, if you're trying to make something light out of carbon, you end up using very brittle type of carbon fiber. It's lighter, but it's more brittle. So you have to, you know, at some point, how light is too light, and is it durable, and is it crash? Will it survive a crash? So another thing, we always use this expression, race what you can replace. So most of us don't race, but when you train, it's the same kind of thing. You know, race what you can replace. Okay, so we're going to turn on our trusty little scale here, and I'm going to grab the camera and shoot this. Transition is a little rough, I apologize, but here we go. We are going to zero out this scale. There it is, 0 grams. And keep in mind that this is a 40 handlebar, and it's just got that little cable guide in there. And so let's see what they were claiming again. I apologize for forgetting, but they were claiming 235 on a 42. We've got 240. That's close enough. Really close enough. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please share my videos with folks. Some videos are really techy, some videos are goofy, and you know, takes all kinds to create a channel. So thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you up the road.